Hello everyone and welcome back to the Series 2 video. Today I have another game for you between Mimile and Jaapaasa from the February Open Tournament. Now, I know we've seen both of these quite a lot recently, but there's just, those two in König are just the most active top players at the moment. So I'm doing a lot of their games here, and I really hope with League we're going to see some more players again. So yeah, both of them are tied currently. They're best of two. I've seen one game being played between the two on Tally. That was a really fantastic one. And the best of two was a tie. And now they're also tied for the top, the first place. They were tied with König too. We've seen the game between Jaapaasa and König. König lost these tiebreakers, so Jaapaasa moved on to fight Mimile. And if he defeats Mimile in this best of one, he will also take the win on the tournament. Yeah, otherwise Mimile will take the win. So let's see. Mimile is playing 4th Canadian on V for Victory, and Jaapaasa is playing 16th on V for Victory as well. So it looks like Jaapaasa decided that V for Victory against Mimile worked well for him last time, so he did it again. Let's see the decks now. So let's start with 4th Canadian Armored. This is an interesting one that, in my opinion, is a little bit risky here. So I have to imagine Mimile first picked it because it is not the best division, in my opinion, to handle the spam. And on top of that, it will struggle with the King Tigers in the Open. There's not really that many ways around those, unless you get some side draws with the Achilles and the Fireflies. That's of course nice. It will counter the Tigers though quite nicely though. So that's one thing it has going for it. Now the recon we do have the Recce with the 2-inch carry. So this is basically carry with 50mm mortar, which is quite nice though because it is armored. So, since there's no really big forest patches on this map, it's not that big of a deal that you can't put it into the forest. But the armor is really nice because it has way more survivability, Stag Hunt then, and of course then the Sherman VSAR. This is really good because there's recon Shermans that actually can spot quite well for itself. And it has radio too, so it's really just quite powerful overall. We have those in A and C phase. And the tab has some secrecy in A and B phase with the Soul Pioneers and Field Energies. Not a whole lot, but don't need that much on this map. And obviously, the division is facing also doesn't have that many. Now, rifles and rifle speed in A phase. Now, why rifles? I have to imagine, it kind of makes sense to me. I kind of have to imagine, so you want to have some of them. This is why the rifle speed are good, because there's still some light stuff to deal with. But the rifles, they're just better for, I think, the spam. You have a cheaper option, and they can do that just fine. Then a leader coming in with the command suit, so 50 cal transport, rifle speed in B phase, and then of course the mighty kangaroo rifles. Not that much actual proper infantry, if you look at it, because I think the numbers are bloated up quite a bit with the field engineers and the soul pioneers. So actual good units, there's not that many of them. Especially, for considering that this is a long income. Tank tab, some stewards, so a little bit of light armor in A phase, but that's about it as far as light armor is concerned. Because then we have some more Shermans in A phase and B phase and C phase as well. So he is not just relying on those recon ones. It looks like Mimile is going very, very Sherman heavy. And then just in C phase, do you have a card of Fireflies, but there's more 2K tools in the AT tab, of course. Support tab has even some regular 2-inch mortars. Not sure how well they will do against the spam, but I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Vickers HMG coming in with the 50 cal half-track ammo, and then of course 2 KHE only in C phase. And that might be useful because those nasty big ADAs could also be an issue. But honestly, if Jaapaasa brings out the King Tiger, that thing is completely useless as well. Then the AT tab, some 6-pounders and 17-pounders. So just a lot of 2K here from Mimile. He obviously knows that he will need it. Because 16th Luftwaffe has, for the most part, Tigers. That's just it. The A-tab, actually quite heavy, but, there could potentially be some air spam coming in with some heavy bombers, so he brings Bofors and Crusader AAs in B and C phase, both at double vet, which, if you take 2 cards, one card each in B and C phase, you can definitely afford to do that. Artillery tab, some Saxons, and then in C phase finally the long toms arrive, so that should be our superiority and the artillery, interestingly enough. It looks like Mimile's planning for some air spam himself with, Mosquitoes, Typhoons, and the Rocket Typhoons in C phase, which you get 6 of, so that could actually be quite annoying to deal with. On the other side, we do have 16th Luftwaffe by Jaapaasa. Now, the recon tab has the Luftwaffe Fusilier, which is nothing phenomenal, but it is one of the only non-disheartened units that you get in this deck, and it has an MG42, so it's not too bad. Infantry tab is just a lot of spam with light sorry, with disarmed unit, as we of course all know. So we get some Luftwaffe MG34, then the Pioneers in A and C phase, so plenty of Seekers to go around for Jaapaasa. The leader, then the Sturm Pioneer in A phase, which is more of a hybrid unit really than the Seekers unit, and then some more Luftwaffe MG34 or regular ones in B and C phase, bring it to a whooping 111 infantry, which is quite massive actually. We also have the Flakkampftruppen in B phase with the bazooka, so Jaapaasa can do a little bit of damage there, and this is also just noting he doesn't have an actual bazooka in A phase, which I think could be quite problematic, since he has plenty of bazookas in the long run with his Flakkampftruppen, but they will only come in B phase. So he has to really hold out throughout A phase without any of them. And while the Panzerjägerbrenn is a nice thing to have and can help you there, I'm not sure if it's actually going to be enough. Now the tank tab, it's interesting. We see Knispel in A phase. It's a ballsy call in. Now, obviously, it's more affordable with V for Victory, but even then, you hardly ever see a King Tiger in A phase. It's usually a horrible call. But let's see if Jaapaasa goes with it. And then we have another King Tiger in C phase. And just not that much armor in general. I mean, if you take 2 cards of those, there's not that much room for Tigers. So I think Jaapaasa will have to bring out those King Tigers, because he doesn't have a lot of armor otherwise. For the 2K, he will need those. And can maybe fill the gap in with a Tiger, but the problem is the Tiger can nicely be countered by 17-pounders and so by 17-pounders and Fireflies and the Achilles. Maybe we're actually going to see it up close. And then some Stücks, of course, support tab, Flamer, Bren, the Feldgendarmerie, which is nice because, it actually has an okay machine gun and it is chunky, so, and just get... You remove the disarm trait, obviously, from your infantry next to it, so you can actually turn these into decent spam, instead of just bad spam. More machine guns and a commander, which it kind of makes sense considering the fact that, you have 2 leaders anyway. But, yeah, I think maybe Panzerfaust would have been better, but that's just my thinking. AT tab has the Panzerjägerbrenn in A phase, a nice little, this thing is super good, so cost efficient, and the 50mm and the Pak 40, and of course a Stück 3F8, so that it has at least a little bit of Stücks in A phase. A8 tab is quite powerful as well with some Flak 36 at single vet, though, which is an interesting choice since they're much better double vet. He brings 2 cards of 88s, not the good ones, and doesn't bring those guns. I'm not surprised not to see any Flak 43, and then he brings the Flak-Zwilling. This thing is absolutely fantastic. This will melt out even Typhoons out of the sky. And then the artillery. There are some spotters for radio. Well, he has also other radio. So I guess he wants to use these for fighting and this for recon. It's just an odd choice in general. And then, of course, the Mighty Nebelwerfer 210 in A phase again. Some 150s in B phase and some more units there. Air tab is actually surprisingly light, but it just has a recon plane and a Focke-Wulf cluster plane, which is really not that good, unfortunately. But also, it kind of makes sense for Jaapaasa to take it, because remember, he doesn't actually have a lot of medium armor, so the Shermans can actually be quite problematic for him already. So it makes sense for him to actually bring in a cluster plane. So let's take a look at the deployments. Now, I have to say, just because I love this division so much, I'm not really biased, but I kind of want to see 4th Canadian win, because I also think that it's not an easy matchup for 4th Canadian. Then again, with the lack of medium tanks, I can see some problems for Jaapaasa coming in as well. It really depends on who of those takes better advantage of it. So I said when it talks about the decks that maybe Mimile first pick, but he can actually see a scenario where he counterpicked and just decided that he can just get away with ignoring the King Tigers, but let's see how this goes. Then South Jaapaasa, Mimile is going in defensively. Well, no, actually, no, never mind. There's 1 unit defensively here, but he's trying to rush near with the Flamer, I assume, and second is going there. Jaapaasa's countering this with a 50mm, so that should stop that. Some machine guns, a Flak Panzerbrenn for some infantry support to probably try and dig out whatever is in there. Over here, we do have some Flamers trying to get in here, or probably a machine gun as well. Now it's just the Flamers trying to get this compound, which could then give pressure onto this flag. And we have some Stücks and Panzerjäger coming as well. On this side, well, the Vic is coming in, trying to do the same thing, but, Stück's probably going to be a little bit slow to arrive, so that thing might actually get in. Staghound and some infantry rushing in there, so some pressure on this flag, but I think it's only a Flamer actually rushing in here, and the Staghound. It looks like some other infantry is going in there. Hold on, is this even this? Oh, it is actually going there, so it's just these guys getting in there. I'm not sure if they're going to make it. And then over here we do have a larger deployment by Mimile as well, trying to, yeah, just fight over this forest patch. We do see something trying to sneak around through here. That could actually be successful as well. And an Oster for some recon. And in this part of the town, defensive, just defending the flag, recon in Church Tower. Over here, massive force from Jaapaasa. It's definitely a good play because he can, you know, if he can actually take this, he can deny Mimile the, you know, the area to fight over that Mimile is actually strong in. Plus, you know, you get a lot of flags here, and if you lose the hill, it's generally rough for you. So yeah, Jaapaasa definitely wants to go there. Massive blow with lots of infantry spam and some of the Flakpanzer Brenn and Panzerjägerbrenn. So without further delay, let's get to it, shall we? We do see the BF-109 coming in as well. This is actually a nice one because it has a proper gun. Compared, you know, not unlike some of the other recon BF-109s that we see. So this thing can actually shoot down both also, I would think. So it will provide Jaapaasa with vision and will take away Mimile's vision. That's actually quite huge for Jaapaasa right there. So it's always nice when for, you know, with a reasonable deployment, not something unreasonable like buying a proper fighter right away, but when with a reasonable deployment that is useful for you, you can actually deny your opponent vision. Is always quite nice, especially when then you still get it yourself. Over here, Staghound got in, but the Pack 38 did as well. Flamer and Assault Engineers, Pioneers are both spotting each other. Pack 38 missed its shot. Staghound did escape. Assault Pioneer though will struggle against the machine guns. This Staghound is getting in, but I don't think it's gonna... maybe it's gonna get a snipe here on the Flamer. Nope, he missed. And we have Flamers versus Assault Pioneer here as well. Obviously, the Assault Pioneer is slightly stronger just because of the fact that it has some actual more guns. But obviously not if it dies to the Flamer in the transport. And now the Slutsk 3F8 can probably start working on that poor Staghound, which did spot the Flamers and is currently working on getting rid of those. This flag though falls to Mimile, to Jaapaasa. Mimile currently down one flag. Jaapaasa is just a blob of Luftwaffe Storm Pioneer here. Still better than the Assault Pioneers, but Mimile has the 2-inch mortar coming in. It's just a little bit too far behind, but the channel move is there. Frigate MG34 will lose out against the Rifles Pit, pretty sure of that. Oh, Luftwaffe is here doing some good work. Recon still circling around. Back to 12-12 as... oh, this push right here was successful. With the Pioneer and the Half-Track moving in. But what would be needed is Staghound to take after Panzerjägerbrenn. Although that would be tricky because it has good ranges, better rate of fire. So I'm not really sure if this would actually work. Flamer trying to sneak through here. But the 2-inch carrier is actually trying to deny that. Pack 38 not moving to position, so this thing could actually move up and do a little bit of work. Both is now coming into force of the recon plane. The Mimile might also be afraid of Jaapaasa starting to send in some planes as well. Right away, which Jaapaasa is not actually doing. Because he doesn't have the capability for it. Achilles is coming in. This is definitely where I think Jaapaasa is going to struggle in A phase a little bit in the open. I think we're going to see some flips here. So first off, Jaapaasa can only bring the King Tiger, so he probably won't bring 2K right away. So Mimile actually can dominate this for a little bit. That is until the King Tiger, right? So at which point Mimile has no business being in the open anymore. So I think it kind of goes that way. It really depends on whether Jaapaasa will find opponents to buy the King Tiger. 2-inch mortar did good work. Luftwaffe Feldgendarmerie was stopped and some of the Luftwaffe Company were forced off, or looks like Kilder was surrendered. Because I think there was 2 or 3 over there. Pack 38 is spotting... Oh, Sherman gets the kill. Yikes. That is a very good kill. 2-inch carriage just attack moving forward, doing some good work. Mosquito is now in. No yet for Jaapaasa, and it's going after the Pack 38, which obviously is holding back a lot of the armor here. And while the Panzerjägerbrenn is good, it obviously has the issue of maybe needing to turn. So these two could potentially... Oh, look at that. The Flakpanzerbrenns are actually enough to stop the Mosquito. Wow. Didn't expect that, to be honest. Is there... It's really just the one. Impressive. Impressive. And it is buffed up, but only once. So, but I mean, it tried to go quite deep next to it, so maybe that was it. But still, quite impressive, actually. But yeah, it makes sense because, you know, this thing, I think, can get killed by these two together. Because ultimately they have enough fire rate, especially if this thing has to align first and things like that. But the Pak 38 obviously is a bit of a problem. 210 coming in. Jaapaasa, so Jaapaasa, I think, has learned a lot from his lessons in his first game against Mimile with VfV Victory, or the first one that we've seen. Not his first game against Mimile, obviously. He definitely got a lot of value out of his 210, so he decides to do it again. And that's the first thing. And then obviously the VfV Victory as well. Focke-Wulf comes in, kills off the Staghound. Unfortunately for Jaapaasa, there's the Achilles, which be the way better target, but this one, you know, lives to fight another day. Staghound now pushing through. He can definitely kill a Flak Panzerbrenner over there, and his Soul Penny needs to be careful not to move too far forward, or otherwise the machine gun can actually start dealing with them. Kills has not yet been noticed. Now it has been. Jaapaasa is falling back to Slutsk, and AA is now coming out. Is it enough though? The Focke-Wulf is already on its way. If the both of us can spread it a little bit, because this thing again, it is not that good. It doesn't drop all the clusters, so I think it's not quite dense enough to the cluster nets to really kill a lot of tanks. Very often it fails. At least heavy tanks for certain. I think medium tanks often survive too. But you know, if there's any spread, it's definitely not going to make it. But yeah, there we go. Achilles survives. Barely, but it survives. It's really just enough to kill light armor, but for medium, unfortunately, it doesn't cut it. We can also see, now we can't see that it actually has some charge left. So this thing's just not that good, really. Rifles versus Feldshot armory. I mean, this thing is an automatic rifle, this is not. But this one has more guns than the rifles, which at this range actually makes a difference. So we can see here. 2-inch mortar though doing some more work, 2-inch carrier also doing some work. More reinforcements coming in, including the Commando, but that one can't really do much at the moment because there's the Flak Panzerbrenner here as well. Looks like this one died here, by the way, and Mimile is trying to make a move. He's on the 3rd 11 now, but he can't really do much. Yeah, he's on the 3rd 11 because he re-grabbed this flag and still has this one. Looks like the Flak Panzer actually won against the Staghound, though this thing is not to be underestimated. I thought it would win, but the Staghound maybe doesn't have enough. Yeah, maybe his rate of fire is not high enough. I don't know. Maybe it needs too long to aim. But I mean, I've seen this deleting armor, so it's not that surprising, but still, I would have expected the Staghound to win at that range. Pak 38 is in position, 2-inch carrier is just chilling down for the moment. 50 cal is still being annoying, but the Assault Pioneer was forced back, so the flag is now back in Jaapaasa's hands. And it's bringing in, oh yeah, I forgot about that. He actually has the 88. So, and this will not struggle penning the Achilles. So it needs to hit, but it has a good rate of fire. So this is, you know, this is one of the situations where 88s are actually good for the 2K because you're not dealing with anything that it will struggle to pen. This is the main problem of the 88. It might not pen immediately. It will take a few hits, shots to do that. And the problem is obviously it doesn't have the suppression resistance against tank shots that regular AT gets. It's actually a thing. So yeah, this is one of the good scenarios here. Focke-Wulf coming in again up north now, where there might not be any yet, but there actually is. Don't think the both of us will force it off though. It has not started shooting yet. Surprised he can't see it, but now he can. But yeah, Focke-Wulf's gonna get in. Staghound survives. This just goes to show how bad that plane is. Never mind. Down it goes. 50 cal, doing a little bit of suppression, but I think the Slutsk or the Pak 38 student going to kill it. 14-10 for Mimile now, with him grabbing what? Oh, the half-track is grabbing the flag, that's what it is. Mansfield is now bullying some infantry, but is getting bullied by the Panzerjäger instead himself. So things not so decisive so far, and the tanks are actually quite close. This is definitely where having some bazookas would be useful. You know, you could have them some buildings. Focke-Wulf tries it again, but yeah, now there's the A in it. So it's not that easy to get in anymore. We have 2 Sextons coming in, so we're feeling quite confident if you feel safe enough to buy Sextons right away. Nepal is now aiming. Oh, it's actually quite close. I would be... I mean, it's actually really good for your panzer to use it this close. I would be afraid of putting it that close because you have to be very, very careful with moving around here if you lose the hill, because you can actually take shots at it right here. So, and it's not even, you know, it's going to take a while to move out of the 1500 meter range too. Sherman versus Panzerjägerbrenn should be an easy... Oh no, the Panzerjägerbrenn spotted the 2-inch carrier. Nebel Strike is... Oh, killing the leader. 2-inch carrier might take the Sherman with it as well. No, too far back. Does some damage. Don't think it will significantly enough stop the push of Jaapaasa. Mimile. Achilles has actually used up most of his 2KT shell. This is a dream scenario for Jaapaasa because the 88 is then actually uncontested here, as the Achilles can't even do anything to it. And since there's no 2KT, this is another ideal scenario. A reason why this is an ideal scenario for the 88, because there's no 2KT to be afraid of. Mimile cannot deal with it directly until Z phase. Flak 36 now come in as the Mosquito. I don't know what he tried to do. It was called back, it wasn't forced off. He tried to bomb something, but didn't do it. It's a very off thing. Look at how ballsy Mimile's pushes that. Like, he has actually, you know, at this range, the Sherman can see what's going on over here, but what I would really be worried about is any bazookas being up here. Now, Jaapaasa didn't take them, so... Oh, Saxons are immediately on the Nebel. And they're in radio range too, so that's actually quite dangerous. However, I think this could save Mimile here, since the initial volley missed. The spread might not be big enough. Actually, no, this is the radio from, I think, this leader. It's actually not in radio range. Right? No, it isn't. It isn't. Oh, it still hit though! Yeah, because now getting away is not that easy anymore if the spread is big, of course. Wow, Jaapaasa brought in the Nebel. It did a little bit of damage, but not all that much, and immediately died. Oh, that is a massive loss for Jaapaasa. That could, you know... I know that the game is long. I don't know who wins. So, very often I actually do know, because I've already looked at it before I looked at whether it is a castable game or not. But in this case, I really do not know. And I know it's a long one, so it's a close one, I assume. Might also be, you know, a long, grindy, continuous loss like the one with König. But I assume it's a good one, because Mimile's told me this is a good one to cast. And this could be a game-deciding moment. Like, things like these really have massive impacts on the game. Because this will take out... This will just remove a lot of the potential pressure that Jaapaasa has. And I don't really see him coming back from it. Especially now that, you know, we've reached B phase, where both players do have a significantly lower income. So having something that can do massive damage at once and inflict so many losses that you just cannot replenish it with this low of an income, those are incredibly impactful. So if that tool is gone, that could be very problematic. 2-inch mortar now doing some more pinning here. Jaapaasa getting forced off the hill, which is obviously a massive problem, because that means Mimile can just dominate here. So I think we're at the point where Jaapaasa definitely wants to go all in the open. He needs this flag, and maybe even more, because Mimile is probably going to take these two. It's only a matter of time. And this one as well. So Mimile is doing exactly what he needs to do here. He will not be able to push much further because, you know, the Tiger he can deal with if, well, not now, but he can if he brings a 17-pounder or an Achilles. But if Jaapaasa decides to just take a King Tiger here to hold this off, make sure that there's no more pushes possible, then that's good. Oh, I didn't even notice this. Jaapaasa took the drilling air support. That's probably why he... As additional aid, this is probably why he took it single vet. Oh my, it's interesting. And this thing, it has 2 sets of drilling, so I would imagine it's quite decent as almost AA assistant. Maybe not the best AA tool on its own, but I think with 2 you might actually be decent on your own. But it's definitely good for assisting. There we go, Jaapaasa doing some slow pushes here. The rifles there obviously cannot survive there forever. It looks like the Achilles here actually did go down. Probably the 88, when it was like somewhere over here, got line of sight on it. Because I think it's one of these. There we go, yeah. Down it went. The Panzerjäger Bren, while not the, you know, where its primary function is not infantry support, it can do it, and it's doing it just fine. So Mimile's just getting easily overwhelmed there and in the open here as well. I definitely do see, we're looking at these two flags flipping very, very soon, and I think Mimile has a realistic chance of actually getting, he has a very realistic chance of getting one of these two. Oh, this is not Buck. It was somehow still suppressed when he got in. It's recovering now, but now there's a Flak 36 and the drilling, and there's the 88 here too, so I don't think it's gonna be able to do much damage. If it turns this way, it might even die. If it turns that way, it's gonna be safe. And it turns the wrong way. Yikes. Gets the bombs off, but misses. I think it's gonna go down it. There we go. Down it went. Oh! The pass decided to go in for a strike just to pin with his Focke-Wulf. And I mean, it's good enough for that. 122 coming in for the 2k HE, suppose. Massive Sherman blob here. This one got killed off though. Maybe by the Tiger. This is Sherman here. No. I don't know what happened to it then. Maybe the Pack 38 got a kill. It gets another one. Wow. Mile's getting a lot of value of his Pack 38. It's pushing forward. I mean, if you can find another one of these, that would be massive. Not necessarily because it changes the outcome of this. Jaapaasa is going to lose. I don't think there's any question on that matter. But, you know, the more losses he can inflict here, the harder it's going to get for Mimile to really secure this. The more resources he needs to spend on that, meaning that he has less resources to actually stop this. And Jaapaasa in a position here to actually get some good work done. He's going for another pinning run. I think it's overkill. I mean, he has the infantry, he has the machine gun, he has some support tools, there's a Stück. Like, the support is here. Whatever it is in here, when it reveals itself, it will get killed. So, I think this is kind of an overkill. Rifles here. The Panzerjäger brand could move forward, or the same goes for the Flak Panzer brand. And then the rifles would be toast, but... Oh, Vickers coming in. Yeah, now I definitely need to follow up. Up here, Flakkampftruppen are coming in. Not sure if Jaapaasa... He sends in more Luftwaffe as well. I think there's a major mistake here. Although, now we know something that, of course, Jaapaasa doesn't know, which is that Mimile doesn't actually have all that much infantry. You can definitely build full with more infantry than Mimile did take. But we, knowing this, can see that maybe this can actually work to Jaapaasa's favor. Because he can keep going all day with infantry. Mimile cannot. I think something like the Flakkampftruppe just to hold on and inflict damage is a good call. Maybe not so sure about this. Sentinbody gets a massive killer on the Tiger. This is quite huge actually, since it gives much more room here for Mimile. Much more breathing room. Jaapaasa tried to spam his way in into the flag, and it worked to some extent, but he needs to be very careful. Stück Fate is quite close, and the Steward could go for a side shot. There's also rifles peered there. It's not that easy. Jaapaasa is making his moves, but he's very slowly pushing forward. The same thing over here. It's not actually... I'm surprised about, you know, that now they're moving, but we're actually sitting there for quite a while. There we go. Rifles versus Luftwaffe Jäger. Finally, the fight is on. They're hiding behind the building. Jaapaasa's taking this very, very carefully. He has the flame here. He could move. I think it's just too... I mean, I guess never change a running system. It's still a bit of an odd choice. I think Jaapaasa's wasting a lot of time here. Where he could just go. Also, by pinning it repeatedly, I guess he could have just waited until his units were there and then done it. You know? Oh, there's a blob here. I will overwhelm that rifle spear. That's going to get the flag. Oh, it looks like this thing also spotted them. No. Might have. I mean, this is hard versus quite suppressed. This hard will still win in this scenario. There we go. Rifle spear are going to be pinned. 14-10 now for Jaapaasa, actually. Actually quite impressive. Sections continue working. Nothing where they are shooting at the moment. And they're not within radio range either, which again is a major mistake, since these things are super accurate, but only when you use them in radio range. Pretty sure at least it isn't. Nothing here is radio. This should be too far away. Yep, it isn't radio range. It's barely outside of it. Like, if he aims like right here it is, we can see the circle. I just wanted to double check whether this is from Jaapaasa or from Mimile. It is actually from Mimile. Achilles has arrived. 88 has not followed up though. It definitely needs to close in as well if he wants to be able to block off the open for Mimile. 122 is, I was going to say, hopefully not doing counter battle. It looks like it was, but there's no points since those are sections, and I think Jaapaasa know that this is what you have to expect from 4th Canadian. Sections certainly do work. Oh, massive surrender wave coming in. And these are all Luftwaffe MG34, so they don't actually have AT on them. Now, if you get too close with any half-track, you can throw small bombs into the open top vehicle, but it gets pinned in time from the steward up there, so that the half-track actually survives and can continue to be quite annoying. And there we go, Mimile takes the center here back. Another 122 coming in. Some 2k HE, more luck open, but I'm not sure if this is actually going to make a difference anymore at this point. 70 pounder is closing in, by the way, interestingly enough. Bofors, oh, something was just called in. Oh, Vickers. Bofors did some anti-infantry duty. 88 is now moving forward, trying to zone out that Achilles, as of course Jaapaasa should do. Saxon is now targeting the flank 36. Surprised it hasn't moved. Also surprised that Mimile's still going after it. Because, you know, I think it was quite some time since it last fired, so you know, you don't actually know whether it's still there. Bit of a waste of time, but I mean, it is still there, so it's not actually a waste of time. It is potentially a waste of time. 2-inch mortar doing 2-inch mortar things, but now they run out of ammo, but another one is already coming in. And down south, things quite quiet. The one rifle is actually forced off the push, and Jaapaasa did not, you know, use all his other tools that he has to push with him. It's actually quite a major mistake there on his part. Now, he kind of needs to reinforce this with some AT as well. Mimile currently just going defensive, which is absolutely the right call over here. Oh, two of these got in. One of them got this charge off on the half track, which obviously was very dangerous for Jaapaasa. So, you know, if it's use them or not use them, I guess it kind of makes sense. Mimile nicely moving his Bofors up. It's quite dangerous actually, because, you know, from here you can find some angles onto it. But it is close to the front line. It is then close to the Sherman as well, which gives leadership. It's actually a really nice move there. I never feel comfortable with going so close to the front line, but if you can do it, obviously it's a very good move. 122 is trying to find the Bofors, which is not here anymore. And the Zero are actually bullying it and taking advantage of the fact that Jaapaasa didn't actually reinforce it with any AT. And the 88 could put an end to this though. It still has plenty of AP shells. Finding the half track. It's missing the steward though. I think it's going to get out of line of sight. No. Is it going to hit it though? That's a big question. It does not. The steward got in. And again, these are all Luftwaffe MG34s that do not have any AT. This thing obviously has AT, but it will need to engage first. Things are quite slow in the open. Now we've reached C phase, so now the 105 is in the 88 all of a sudden is not really in a dominating position anymore. I think it's probably now that Jaapaasa wished he had taken more regular tanks instead of King Tigers, because he didn't bring in A anyway. Saxon's nicely going after the pack 38. Again, the radio is a bit of an issue here, but it seems to be working out. Achilles and 105 coming in as well, so this is a really nice combo here. I don't think Jaapaasa has a good answer to this. 150mm Nebelwerfer now coming in. And Achilles is pushing forward again. And since, you know, if the 88 is going to get too close, it gets gets blasted away by the 105. Wondering if it, yeah, Mimile is doing the ground attack trick, so it ground attacks in front of it and hopes that eventually, you know, the dispersion will mean it will get hit. This is absolutely how we have to do it. There we go, Knispel is arriving. It's King Tiger time. Let's go. But that means that, you know, he might be able to take out the 88, but he will need to fall back afterwards. Now, Jaapaasa will definitely need to bring in some AA now, because 188 is not going to cut it. Mimile could just decide to grind this down with his massive air force when he builds one up. But still, it's definitely a very real risk that I think Jaapaasa should account for. Mimile is currently just reinforcing with lots of shrubs. I mean, that's the one thing he's plenty of. Now also Kangaroo rifles are coming in, and another Vickers. And none of this has... Oh, actually the Flakkampftrooper not there. So the Vickers might actually not survive this. No, I think it's gonna get in, but half-track might die eventually. Strict, don't know what that sees. 150 is going after the... Oh, did the AA die? Looks like it did. Is that the AA? No. Where did it go? This the AA? Did it die by... Can't find it. But it is not here anymore. It did die. Oh, there it went. I don't know what that was trying to do, but it looks like the Pak 38 got the kill on it. That's very much yikes. Naval strike did happen. It's once again not moved. Oh, look at that. The Achilles got a kill on the Stück. Now 105, the 105 might just delete the 122 very soon after as well. It's currently stuck on some of the infantry over there. Mile's fighting over it, but he's struggling. He's retaking this flank though, with the 88 being pushed back, but now Knispel has arrived. And there's not much these guys can do now. Looks like the rifle side here as well, so there's only one Vickers holding. Now we know that, but Jaapaasa obviously doesn't. So we don't see much action here, but Jaapaasa could actually do a lot there. Like, he could just start pushing very easily with his lighter armor. Just be careful because of the Achilles. Rifle spear coming in as well. Oh, Knispel finds the 105. Jaapaasa is not yet noticed. And that 105 will go down most likely. Yep, there we go. King Tiger gets the kill. Down it goes. More reinforcements in form of Kangaroo rifles and another 105 up north though. So Mile's really started to like those guys, didn't he? There's another Tiger coming in. Just still, you know, Tiger versus Achilles should still be favored for the Tiger, as the Achilles might struggle penning it a little bit at max range. But that could flip. And Mimile can, you know, you can bring in more Achilles, you can bring in more Fireflies. Jaapaasa doesn't have that many Tigers, so he has to be very careful with them. Another 150 coming in on reinforcement. No, close reinforcement road. Not on it though. 105 and Achilles are being targeted by the Neville. It's quite a bit of a distance, but might work. They are on the move though. But luckily for Jaapaasa and unfortunately for Mimile, it's still within the spread of the Neville. 122 has been spotted. I mean, if it gets close enough, it can use the heat shells, but it's not close enough at the moment. Neville, as always, doesn't really do enough damage, especially at this distance. You definitely need two of those. Pak 40 now coming in as well onto the hill by the looks of it. I mean, AT guns in these two forest patches have done wonders for Jaapaasa so far. Mimile has now brought in an artillery lead as well to buff up his Saxons, which are running low on ammo, so he needs to resupply those. Both Kangaroo rifles are coming in for this as well, so it looks like Jaapaasa might be, Mimile might be planning some move around here. Quite interesting to see as well. The 88 is, I don't know what it's doing. I'm going after the Oster. It's possible that Mimile might actually be trying to bait out shells of the 88 by sending it like in this far back, so that eventually runs low on ammo. And if Mimile has some planes, he can go after Knispel undisturbed. But at the moment, it's kind of hard to. It's really hard to assess where the game's going. Really, because the hill is not entirely lost for Jaapaasa yet, but Mimile is pressuring him hard. So there is some potential for massive problems here for Jaapaasa. At the same time, I don't see Mimile dealing with Knispel anytime soon, and there's definitely some more pushes that could potentially be happening over here, especially for us who see how weak Mimile actually is over here. So I'm actually quite surprised that Jaapaasa continues to fight so hard over this, where this is in and out for him, and I think at this point he should just accept that he's not gonna, like, you know, I don't think he's gonna really get back in there. Mimile is pushing this hard, and Jaapaasa with Knispel has actually made quite the investment over here, which I think it would actually be worth for him to use that for more than just holding, but for actual pushing as well. Looks like Jaapaasa is going for pinning here mostly. I'm surprised about the Focke-Wulf not doing much. The other one not doing much because, you know, there's Sherman here, there's a 105. It's not a 105. 17 pound right now, which is going to be a problem for the Tiger. Tiger is also a rifle in the run because this is definitely a fight that is not good for the Tiger. Both is coming in. Nice little double one this time, so it's going to do quite well on its own. And obviously, even better if a leader is also buffing it up. Supplies have arrived to resupply the Saxons. It's going to be quite important. No heavy artillery so far, which is interesting. What the Focke-Wulf just circling around still. Not a 17 pounder coming in, up close. If that is on the road here, he could definitely take some shots at the Tiger. They would actually be quite close too. It's problematic for Jaapaasa to say the least. Stuk is targeting at being targeted at the moment though. And Jaapaasa is clearly losing this fight now. So now I think is really the time where you have to cut your losses. So, you know, I think Jaapaasa should feel how much under how much pressure he is. He's losing this clearly. He's losing this clearly. Jaapaasa, Mimile has set up on the hill now with his support tools and AT tools. So at this point, the right call would be to just accept that you lost this. Build up new line of defenses. You know, this one you can try to hold for as long as you can, but you have to accept that eventually you're going to lose it. Build up new line of defenses. Make sure that your opponent cannot push any further here, and you know, start reinforcing in this, push this, because this is where the real strength of 16th lies here. So this is where he should be pushing. But I think Jaapaasa at the moment making, yeah, not the right call. Now there's a King Tiger coming in, which is in principle a good call, but he has to be very, very careful here because he can expose himself to multiple angles from the hill and the town. So he just cannot show any side armor. Third level from Mimile now with him taking the two towns and actually, weirdly enough, getting this flag as well. 122 is not in a position to actually deal with the rifle spear, and the Knispel is not in a position to threaten the rifle spear. So there we go. This flag actually flipped. Nice move there by Mimile. Neville coming in on Jaapaasa's side for, I don't know what for at the moment. Another 122 coming in. 2 KHE. Ooh, Knispel's, not Knispel, the other King Tiger spotted something. Ah, the pool, no, steward. Command steward. But did it just get penned? Does this thing? No, it didn't. It's very suppressed already by one shot. There we go. I was going to say, this thing doesn't have that health, doesn't it? Saxons are now switching for... One is going after 122, one of it is going after this one. This one, I think, might very well succeed. This one, these two, it's quite far forward. There's no radio. Probably not going to do all that much, and obviously Jaapaasa is keeping them on the move. He's not going after Knispel, which I think is important to note here, because it's absolutely the right call right here. There's just no point in going for a King Tiger. It's going to take you ages for that thing to get killed by artillery. Especially something inaccurate as Saxons. One of them gets pinned down and is on the move. Did the Nebel strike go after them? Yep, there's one reloading, so that could have happened. It definitely, yeah, it kind of looks like a Nebel barrage here. King Tiger over here. Oh, working on a 17 pounder. Can definitely make it quite tricky for Mimile there. 2 long toms coming in and an artillery leader. So the big arty party is about to begin. And that could, you know, do definitely massive damage. Long toms are much, much better than the Saxons at longer ranges. So this could very easily do a lot of damage onto Jaapaasa's support line, tools and front line here. It could even go after Knispel if Jaapaasa forgets to move it. It's still not the best use of artillery, but I could imagine something like this is going to happen. Third line for Mimile still though. With him regrabbing this flag. Now the Kangaroo and the Kangaroo rifles got some good blasts onto them, but they're still alive. They're still holding. 88. Shooting at the Oster again, I think. No, it shot at something else. On a Nebel strike going after this from way too far ago. Like Nebel strike from this far away. Well, okay, he got super lucky, but usually there's a quite low chance of you actually getting a hit like this. That's a caster's curse, of course. I'm really sorry, Mimile, to have killed your Sherman. Let's see, long toms are going after... No, the 2 KG. Actually, I like this focusing. Mimile, you know, the King Tiger is not posing an imminent threat. So where a lot of people, not good players, but a lot of, say, low and intermediate players would be tempted to go for this, Mimile goes for what is actually the biggest threat for him, which is artillery. It is really annoying as 2 KHE, and he could obviously do some counter battery at some point. So clear that out. Then the next priority would probably be AA, and then if you don't have anything else to go after, but considering the amount of infantry Jaapaasas in places, there's definitely something else, then you could start thinking about going after the tank. Luftwaffe Deck pushing in here, re-grabbing the flag, and another Tiger is coming in as well. 40 open here, that's quite interesting move there. 105 coming in as well, trying to force off the 88, I assume, which is, by the way, out of ammo now. Crispel is pushing further forward again, but he's leaving AA coverage, and there we go, there the Typhoons are. Jaapaasa did not buy AA, he bought another King Tiger instead, which is a massive misinvestment. You need to secure it off. Obviously, these are no AT planes, so they will not kill it right away, but if you're going to look at it, we should see that, actually, no, they just all missed. So, but they will have done a little bit of damage, just to the extent that we can't see it yet. And that will most likely be a problem later on. There we go. Flux coming. This the nice thing about this one is one unit that will do all the 8 coverage you want. The problem is if your opponent has a lot of artillery, especially artillery that you can use relatively freely, that is actually problematic, because that is one thing that can easily get killed off, and then you're done for. You definitely will want to move his leader towards the A8 then, though, to buff it up even more, because that thing will be incredibly deadly then. So in the long run, I think, especially if he passes level to 10 being killed off so early, I kind of see Mimile taking the win here at the moment, because he has the Air Force. Jaapaasa doesn't have the best CA situation at the moment, especially since it looks like the Flak 36 had died. And Mimile has a massive arty party that can do a lot of damage. It's also taking Jaapaasa down, so Jaapaasa would have to do something with his King Tigers. This is one of the reasons why I was not a huge fan of Jaapaasa contesting this, because look at that, he still lost the hill for this spot. It doesn't look to me like he's really going to get it back. His only chances, and only we know because we've seen the decks that is realistic, his only chance at the moment is that he can kill off enough of Mimile's infantry that Mimile run out of infantry. Mimile has been calling a lot of Shermans though, so I'm not so sure if Mimile is close to running out of infantry. And that is a bit of a problem. So this is kind of where I see things going at the moment. It's not going to be easy for Jaapaasa if he really wants to recover from this. He has a lot of things on the ground and a lot of points in those King Tigers, but unless he actually, puts them to use and actually gets something for them, he's just sitting on a lot of points that are relatively useless. Now he's doing a push here with this King Tiger. He's preparing some units. He already had enough for a push, but obviously he doesn't know that because he doesn't know what's here and what isn't. But he's preparing for it. So, there could be another opener. I think with the King Tiger, not joking, it would be very realistic for Jaapaasa to go all the way back here and getting some flags. The problem that he might run into in the process of doing so is that his AA might not be able to keep up, because the closer you go, the less time you will have on target when the plane comes out, at least at a certain point. You get so close that the planes actually spawn closer than the max range of your AA is, and then it's very easy to actually overwhelm that AA, especially with Typhoons. Even the Flak can be overwhelmed. I think if Jaapaasa wants to push deeper here, he needs more forces, and Mimile can actually be, I think, happy to just sit back and trade at the moment. The slower Jaapaasa pushes, the better for him, because it means that, first of all, Jaapaasa cannot really stop the tick fast enough, and it also means that Mimile can, just slowly grind Jaapaasa down, but he's not on the move. Typhoon's coming in, going after the Flak 37, the 88, but the Flak will probably kill that. So that is actually a major mistake there, sending that in alone. Obviously didn't know that it was there, probably, but that's no. There we go, one of the last shots. Flak takes it out. This thing is so fantastic. 237 mils. Oh, and it's the Flak 43 too. It's not the Flak 36. So this thing, absolute beast. Absolute unit. Knispel forcing off some field engineers. It's a cheap way to get the flag back, but unfortunately it's not very realistic. Oh, look at that. The massive blob here is now pushing. The Vickers has been killed off. It looks like he unloaded some of the, or all of the units that were trying to move in. But Jaapaasa just spamming in the Luftwaffe Deck now. Typhoons have another go. Flakzwilling, not sure if it stops them fast enough. I don't think it will. No, it will not. It needs to be closer to King Tiger. And the 2 Typhoons take it out. Now, he might lose one of them in the process, but maybe, just maybe, they spread the initial fire enough that both of them get out very damaged. No, the first one dies. Second one going to make it out. I think so, yes. Just lost one of them for a King Tiger. Could be worth it since another Achilles and 17 pound is already coming in. So massive loss for Jaapaasa. Yes, another King Tiger. He can definitely shift that and start pressuring the open still. But he needs to do that relatively soon, or Mimile has a good angle at getting this back over here. I think Mimile, with this push here from Jaapaasa though, that could have also again happened a long time ago. I think it could still be dangerous for Mimile, because if he doesn't get going here soon enough, Jaapaasa can actually still, you know, do a lot of damage here in the open, and still holding this strongly. He's actually counter pushing here, so I think Mimile has been maybe waiting for a bit too long. We do have a commander in, by the way, in a very far forward position, not something we see every day. And over here, no, Flakzwilling is not moving forward. Tiger is pushing, but the Tiger can be countered. 17 pound already has eye on it. Its eye on it, and Tiger, by the looks of it, is also showing side armor. Huge strike there with 2 Focke-Wulf. Tiger pen 1, 17 pounders, another go. Tiger goes down, so that's a lot of the pressure in the open gone for Jaapaasa here. And he actually needs to be careful that his Flakzwilling is not going to get shot at by the 105 or the Achilles that is about to arrive. But over here, this flag definitely being won by Jaapaasa. I don't think with the King Tiger, Mimile has a lot of options to really retake it. Then again, you know, there's only one King Tiger, there's only so many things you can shoot at once, so there's a realistic chance that just spamming things in here could actually work, especially if the King Tiger has a shift. Now, still a Panzerjäger Brandos, unless there's a proper Sherman, that could at least do some work over there. 105 is also pushed forward, probably to go after the 17 pounder, but there's an Achilles here as well. Which is... no, it's not close to being 1500 meter range. Nebul's reloaded, trying to go after the Saxons once again. Long Toms are now focusing on this. Yeah, this is the logical next step for Mimile, and he is taking it. There's a brief window here where he's exposed to the Slutsk, but the Slutsk is currently busy over here, so maybe Mimile gets actually lucky with some good timing and manages to get in here. He can easily surrender all of this, or kill it off, and then get the flag. And, you know, the Kangaroo Rifle over here could actually do a lot of damage as well, as this is all soft target. And I don't see any bazookas in here. Nope. Nebula's actually being retargeted. It's going after the Kangaroo Rifles, getting Jaapaasa another flag. Fertile for Jaapaasa now. King Tiger looks like it forced off the 105. King Rifle did get in as the King Tiger moved away, but oh... these units here, a combination, somehow managed to kill off the Kangaroo, and the Kangaroo Rifles are getting wiped out as well. Panzerjäger now coming in. Sherman 105 is working on the 122. No, it does not. Probably took damage from the Achilles, which is going to get shot at by the 88. It got a pen, but it will get away. Are these being used again as well? Yeah, Jaapaasa is actually working on softening up this spot over there, but Mimile is still holding on, and there's quite some work to do for Jaapaasa. If he wants to get back, he needs a single tick now, and even then it might not be enough. He might need a double tick for, you know, not super long, but at least for a little bit. He definitely needs to extend this push that he has now to this, and he's buying out the King Tiger, but I don't think this is actually needed. I think he needs to use the King Tiger that he has now to cover his advance for these 2 flags. And it's too far forward once again. The Flakzwilling is not in position. And again, I think the lead and exit would also enhance it quite a bit. So we might be looking at another King Tiger dying. No, it survives. These things are so hard to kill with soft, you know, with HE tools. Jaapaasa is not focusing on one particular plane, so all the Typhoons are actually going to get out this time. 88 does go down. Not a Knispel. another Kniskel, another King Tiger is moving in. We've also, by the way, just realized, the aces always die. I think you know that. Kind of is a bit of a meme in the community, but it is kind of a thing. And it certainly was true in this case. But now that this King Tiger arrived, Jaapaasa really needs to make the push. He can't sit on the 12-12 any longer. He needs to get those flags. Now, the Kangaroo actually re-grabbing this, but the Panzerjäger is there to take that out. Sherman coming in. Slutsk is on the move here. That's very important because Jaapaasa needs to cover off the edge of the hill, because otherwise that Sherman can start blasting and whatever is over there. 3rd level for Jaapaasa. He needs Mordo. Tiger taking out the 105. Oh, that thing is still here. I forgot about that. So the King Tiger really isn't needed. Jaapaasa now really needs to start pushing here. Yeah, there goes the Q move. He needs both of these flags if he wants to take the win there. Or he needs this one. One of the two. But Mimile is holding strongly with his Shermans. We haven't seen that many Kangaroo rifles coming in though. So I do kind of suspect that Mimile might be running out. So maybe Jaapaasa's just keep on spamming infantry until your opponent runs out of infantry. It might actually be working here. Surprisingly enough. I was checking out the church tower. Not a bad play. It's just, you know, you hardly ever see 2 Nebels being spent on just doing that particular thing. But looking at this, I mean, it was right on church tower, so he very deliberately targeted that. It was not about the 105 next to him. I think I'm pretty sure that it was all about the church tower here. 3rd 11 still though, Mimile just needs to hold on. Field Engineer is coming in for this flag. It's actually a really good call because these are going to take a while to arrive. So all that Mimile needs to do is just have something here that can prevent the falling of this flag for a little bit. It's 5 minutes left. I do think that is... Nah, it's not going to be enough. Jaapaasa doesn't need the double tick. It's pushing for this now. Sherman coming in, but I definitely... There's one more Kangaroo rifles. Should also be a good call for here because he can, you know, actually put that in the forest, whereas the Sherman here could actually be forced off by the Slutsk or the Tiger or the King Tiger. Speaking of which, both of them are still far forward. The Flak Tvilling is still not in a position to follow up, and there's still no leader next to it. Long Toms are still softening up this, but Mimile is not going to have another go at this, so I think kind of would be better to use him on that. Jaapaasa is really trying too hard to go for that flag, but the Sherman is going for it. Being resupplied, probably this is what really was to be what he wanted to resupply, but you know, Sherman's getting constantly resupplied, so he's a 2-inch mortar. They're doing their best to hold there. Kangaroo rifles here is focused by the Nebel. I mean, there's not that much a Nebel can do at this distance, really. He can pin it, but unless it gets a very lucky hit, which I don't think it does. No, it does not. 6 pounder versus Slutsk. Slutsk might actually lose this, and the Sherman is going to get in. I think Mimile might take the win here. He's delaying quite effectively, especially if this Sherman gets in. And no, it does not. But if this got in, I'm surprised that these did not come in earlier, because I think now it might be too late. Previously, they could have probably held that flag for a bit, but now I really don't see it. Knispel is pushing again. Slutsk still alive. Slutsk goes down. Huge win. Now, this thing, unfortunately for Mimile, does not affect the front line. He needs something in here that can hold out for a little bit. Typhoon is going after the King Tiger. This is the one that already has been targeted earlier, so I think it's going to go down with this salvo. Down it goes, there we go. And it's now just one Luftwaffe Jäger. Oh, 6 pounder is being focused. Interesting choice there. 13-11 for Jaapaasa now. Mimile actually managed to get in here. He needs to be very careful with the Kangaroo rifles, but they can hold in the forest over here. Not against the Luftwaffe Panzer, so that might put an end to that. But, you know, that would only be the 14-10 because this flag is still being held. Mimile just needs to hold out for a little bit longer. The question is, can he do this? Over here, Jaapaasa's counter push has failed. Same thing over here, really. So it's really down to this one Luftwaffe getting that flag. Or, actually, alternatively, these getting killed off to the point that this front line, you know, flips to this flag as well. But it looks like the Slutsk actually died to the Achilles, and so did the Tiger. So, oh, but now, never mind, the thing died. Achilles is trying to hold on, though. I think at this point it's over. Crusade Jaeger, I mean, up close he can do the work. Not against Panzerjäger Brand, but against the other tools he can. There's still one more Kangaroo rifles. And the Pioneer here did fall back. These guys are not in the position to do anything. Kangaroo rifles, even if they get no, they're moving back into cover. Mimile does the right call here. Just chill out, hide a little bit, don't get caught out of cover, survive. That is what it's all about. Field engineers will kill off the Luftwaffe with the TNT. But that's that attempt of a flag grab denied by Mimile as well. Shuk 3F8 takes out the... Okay, dies itself. King Tiger is now moving up very close, actually. Is this another one? Yeah, we have 2 flux filling now. And Jaapaasa surrenders, realizing that he just cannot make it work anymore. Trades were actually slightly in Jaapaasa's favor, but Jaapaasa was just sitting on too many of those King Tigers that didn't do enough work. And really what it comes down to is Jaapaasa just didn't take the opportunities he had. He wasted too many resources up in the north trying to hold that hill that I think after the initial push he was kind of destined to lose anyway. This is just not, you know, a place where his division is particularly strong. If he can outspam Mimile entirely, that works, but Mimile was showing that he was quite well set up to fight over that. And I think he just spent too many resources there and was just too careful to push down south. And obviously the delay that was caused by one King Tiger dying because Jaapaasa didn't actually cover enough with enough AA was also quite massive. So I think there was just a lot of mistakes there by Jaapaasa that ultimately led to Mimile taking it, because Jaapaasa didn't really punish Mimile that much for, you know, the obvious problems that Jaapaasa would have, that Mimile would have versus the King Tiger in the open. So, I don't know. Look at that Sherman go, actually. It killed almost all those Panzerjäger friends. I mean, they're super good. But against the Sherman, they're really not that good anymore. The Spit did some work. The Saxons, I mean, Mimile used them wonderfully. They did some very good work. Then the 105s, once they came in, they just blocked Jaapaasa's infantry spam quite effectively. Tank rifles actually a very good work too. Oh, they even killed the Flak 36. Wow. Long Toms did some good work too. Typhoons obviously did not get that impressive of a kill list, but I think 2 King Tigers definitely add up to enough to justify buying all these Typhoons. There's no question there. Some 17 pounders were quite annoying, some Achilles. On Jaapaasa's side, yeah, the 1-pack 38 that we've seen, really fantastic. The cluster's actually getting, you know, at least when it comes to light vehicles, some good kills, but they're just not that good, all things considered. The 210 did actually get some kills, but just nothing massive, and then it died. This thing is also quite amazing. I mean, almost all of your Jaapaasa's pack 38s did some very good work. The 88 as well, just run out of ammo at some point and got killed off. What else do we have? The drilling did some very good anti-duty. I mean, this thing pins infantry super fast. The 122 is a little bit, Stuck's a little bit. The Tiger actually got some good work done as well. One of the King Tigers here, actually very good work too. I'm not sure if that's the one up north or the one, I think that's the one up north, right? Yeah, it should have, because that's after there weren't that many Shermans. So killed some Sherman, 17 pounders also. Good job there. The other Nabel, oh, that's what killed the both. Never mind. It wasn't the AT gun. But that did good work too. This one, not so much. Pack 40 actually getting some good kills as well. So there's quite a few units that did quite well. Yeah, it's really just Jaapaasa's reluctance to push in time. I think that was a bit of a problem here, because I think, you know, in the open he really had it, but he would have needed to do it earlier. But yeah, that was an interesting one. I hope you enjoyed it too. Thanks for watching, and congrats to Mimile for winning the monthly. And congrats to, well, I guess Jaapaasa and Koenig now have to fight over second. No, Jaapaasa already won against Koenig, so I think it's Mimile first, Jaapaasa second, and Koenig third, I would assume. So congrats to all of those. And again, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, and see you all in the next one.